All right, Liza, thank you so much for joining me today. I am super excited to catch up with you since the Book Out Your Business Marketing Bootcamp. For those who don't know me, I'm Tasha. I coach service-based entrepreneurs, and Liza just finished recently my Book Out Your Business Marketing Bootcamp. Liza, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? Tell everybody what you do.
Sure, I'm Liza. I run a small consultancy called Last Word MKTG, Last Word Marketing, where I specialize in product marketing support for mostly scale up and some enterprise businesses.
Awesome. And tell me a little bit about your business journey, maybe how you got to where you are now. And also, I want to hear a little bit about where you were at in your business when you decided to join the Book Out Your Business Marketing Bootcamp and what made you decide to join it.
Sure. Well, I have worked at large companies and small companies as an employee for many, many years. And I would typically come in and kind of work on a product marketing or marketing project that would last, about 6 months to 18 months. Where I would redo messaging and website and kind of very full scale marketing program. And after I was done with that, I would be bored and I would leave to go get another job. So I had many jobs on my resume, which isn't always as appealing to potential employers, but is extremely appealing for going into a consulting line of work. So in right, 2018, I decided to take the jump into consulting. It's was scary and risky, but when I started doing it, I immediately knew that this was the career path for me. It felt like putting on the right fitting clothes for the first time ever in my career. So I loved it initially. I love just coming in and doing the work and getting things done and not worrying so much about the politics of an organization and some other, admin type things that you have to deal with as an employee. So that's been my journey. I've been doing consulting for about 5 years. In terms of the Book Out Your Business, I've relied mostly on my network to get clients, and that's worked out great. But at some point, you need to expand beyond that, I think, to try to get clients from a little bit outside your network. And I was struggling with how to do that. There's not necessarily a manual on how to, launch a consulting marketing business. So I searched around for, different ideas. I read a lot of articles, but I really realized I wanted a little bit more of a personalized approach to me. So I found Tasha via the We Are Rosie Slack group and signed up for some of the emails, and from there decided to join the boot camp. And it's been really helpful.
Yay. What a great way to describe how you came to love having your own business. You said it's like putting on the right fitting clothes. I love that description. Okay, so you decided to join the boot camp. Tell us a little bit about your experience in the boot camp. Like, how was it for you? What was the most impactful for you? What were like your favorite things that you learned maybe? And then would love to hear a little bit about any tangible impacts and like results you've seen from doing the boot camp. I know we've chatted about that a little bit.
Yeah, sure. So at the point I decided to join the boot camp was earlier this year in 2023. And unless you've been under a rock, there were a lot of layoffs, a lot of companies were not hiring as much. It was a little bit of a slowdown. A lot of the Slack groups I was in for other consultants, everyone was very worried, as was I. But rather than sit around and just be worried, I was like, I need to do something, right? And it might be surprising for people that I work in marketing, yet I wanted to work with Tasha to improve my marketing. But as someone pointed out to me, I do marketing for technology companies. And I am not a technology platform. I'm like a real person, right? So even though a lot of the same principles apply to personal branding is different, I think, than branding for a technology product or any kind of tangible product, right? So I needed to learn how to apply the concepts that I use for my clients to myself, which is a little bit of a journey. It's it's very personal to you, so it can be hard, I think, for anybody. It's definitely, the boot camp and Tasha have definitely helped me be able to apply what I know about marketing to myself, and also gave me a little bit of permission to kind of experiment a little bit. And maybe you're not going to get it 100. I'm not going to get it 100% right the first time, and that's fine. Or maybe no one will like my LinkedIn post. It doesn't mean I need to go jump off a bridge, right? It just means that I'm trying different things, and it's fine. It's okay to experiment. It's okay to want to market yourself, and it's okay to want to sell yourself. I think a lot of times, particularly as women, we're very reluctant to go out there and say, I'm here, I'm in business, hire me. It can be hard, I think, for some people, and myself included. So with the boot camp, I've said to Tasha many times, I think the biggest takeaway for me was this mindset shift of all the things I just was talking about. It's okay to experiment. Here's a few ways to experiment. It's okay to be out there selling. I think Tasha many times in the boot camp has said to myself and the other participants that, like, you need to be able to sell. Otherwise, what are we doing? Why are we here? Right? If you don't want to do that, if you don't want to sign up for that, it's perfectly fine. Then I can go get a proper full-time job, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. I want to keep consulting, in which case you're going to need to be able to sell yourself.
Totally. No, it's been awesome watching your progress in the boot camp. I've totally seen your mindset shift. I know before you were like really nervous about posting and feeling salesy and gross and icky and like, does anyone even like what I'm posting? Like, what's even at the point? And I've seen this huge shift to now you're getting clients from your LinkedIn posting. Like, you're feeling much more comfortable with it. Tell me a little bit about the actual results you've gotten. Like, you just told me you're set for the rest of the year now on clients. That's amazing. Congratulations. That's so exciting. Tell me a little bit about like those client wins.
Sure. One of my favorite stories is that during one of the boot camp sessions, one of the one-to-one sessions, I expressed skepticism that the LinkedIn is not always going to yield results. And I find it hard to believe that just like commenting on other people's posts is going to result in me getting any clients. And you gently told me like, well, surprised, like getting yourself out there. So I actually did start commenting on a previous client's posts. So someone that I'd worked with before, I'd worked with many times, and usually, they hire me from time to time. I started commenting a little bit on their posts. Honestly, it's not like it took up a lot of my time. It wasn't a big, a heavy lift for me. It took, 4 seconds out of my day. And lo and behold, that person ended up recommending me to someone. It was a large company, and they ended up recommending me to someone else, another department within the company. And I got a 2-month project out of it, which was awesome. So I actually did not connect the dots on this, but I mentioned this to Tasha, and I was like, yeah, I commented on some posts. And she's like, you said that you did not think that worked. And I was like, that is true. I didn't think it worked. But it works. It can work. Because I think, you put yourself in the mindset, in the ear of these people that, you want to work for, and over time it can pay off. So that was one win. Another win had to do with just shifting my messaging on my LinkedIn to be a lot more focused. And as Tasha says, attracting your best fit clients. So I did believe that when she mentioned this, that definitely that messaging from her resonated with me. And I worked a lot on my messaging. One thing that I experienced, and I think a lot of people experience, is that you feel like you'll change your messaging to be more niched down, and you're excluding all these other people that might, be interested in you, but they won't be interested anymore. And that is really not true. I kind of thought that, but I've realized that, getting really focused in your messaging and exactly what you do, and, maybe naming, 2 or 3 values that you bring to the table can actually net you not only those people who are going to be perfect match clients, but also other people who still will respond to that messaging and have it resonate with them and want to hire you. So I changed my messaging to be a lot more focused and out of nowhere, really. From the LinkedIn, someone must have been searching for product marketing help and found me, reached out to me, and now they've turned into a 4-month retainer, which is excellent. That's
Amazing.
what I like.
What does that
and they are a perfect fit client, like exactly like you
that
said.
is fantastic. I mean, to get
Yeah.
a cold lead out of nowhere, and like you
Yeah.
said, when you joined the boot camp, like all of your clients came from your network and came from referrals. To be able to convert a cold lead into an ideal dream client, like that is amazing. That makes me so happy, and also just to see how much you've internalized all the stuff we talked about in the boot camp, because what you're saying is exactly right. Like, this is the fear everyone has about being really specific in their messaging. But no, like, you're only going to attract more perfect fit clients, and other people are still going to be attracted too. It's not like you're leaving out the possibilities. It's really just like a win-win. So what does that look like for you in financial terms? Like, are you set? Like, are you chilling? Where are we at?
In financial terms, with this client that I just mentioned, the 4-month retainer, I will have met my goal for the year. I had projects at the beginning of the year, and then they kind of went away, and then I joined the boot camp, and then I was able to ramp back up to meet my goal. I'm hopeful that I can pick up some project work between now and the end of the year to even go further than my goal, which is always nice. Yeah, I think the other thing I wanted to mention was advice about when leads go cold. I am someone that will ruminate in the cold lead. How could you do
Yeah.
this to me? Kind of a feeling, right? It's not, I know intellectually it is not personal. People's priorities change. They forget, they don't mean to ghost you. It's not personal, right?
Yeah.
But I tend to ruminate in that. And I mentioned this, we were doing a boot camp again, a 1-to-1. And I mentioned this, I was lamenting and wallowing in that. And Tasha told me, just move on. Like, that's fine. Maybe you can follow up with them down the line, but you have other irons in the fire. There's other people to pursue. Like, go back and look at your prospect list. So I did, and I reached out to a friend and asked them to do an intro for a client that I felt would be a perfect fit. And the timing was fantastic. And they had someone that had recently had a full-time position there that had left, and they needed interim support. So that has not closed yet, but I'm optimistic that client will probably result in at least one project.
Amazing.
Don't wallow in the cold leads. There's plenty of fish in the sea. There's plenty of clients.
Yes, it's so amazing just seeing your mindset shift, like from before to now. Like, it's awesome to see that. Oh my gosh, thank you so much for sharing. And if you're comfortable sharing, I'd love to hear, what is the goal that you've achieved that you wanted to hit?
Oh, my yearly goal. I mean, I want to make at least as much money as I made when I left
100%.
my W-2 job.
Yeah.
So when I hit that number, that I consider, the goal every year. And then if I can exceed that, fantastic.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I would say I'm in the mid 6 figures.
That's awesome. Fantastic. Way to go. Okay, tell me a little bit about, like, Liza 10 years ago. If she could see you now, how would she feel? Would she be like, what would she be most like excited about or impressed by? Like, what have you been able as an entrepreneur and as a consultant to like do for yourself, buy for yourself? Have you been like surprised with all the success you've been able to have? Like, what would she be so proud of you for?
Well, 10 years ago, people had mentioned to me that I should try consulting. They felt like people like my dad or like people close to me felt like you'd be better off consulting. And I always was like, no, I don't have that doesn't have the right stability. And also I feel like it'll take over my life. I don't want to be someone that's just like always hustling. I like to turn it off, when I go home.
Mhm.
So that was me 10 years ago. Those were, again, going back to the mindset shift. But really, I finally realized that with my full-time jobs, I was really making the same, I don't want to call them mistakes, but I was in a certain pattern that I didn't enjoy over and over and over and over and over again. So it became to the point where it was like, the way it's going to go at your next full-time job. You know exactly what's going to happen. You've seen this movie. You haven't even just seen this movie once. You've seen it literally 10 times. So do you want to keep doing this? It's like, doesn't feel right. Or do you want to take a chance and change the script?
Yeah.
So I feel like my journey has definitely been about having doing more of what I like and less of what I do not like. So that to me has been the big freedom. And that I think can extend to the day to day of like the work that I do. If
Yeah.
if I get a feeling in a prospect call that I don't want to work with this person, then I don't have to work with this person.
That's right.
If I don't like, I don't get a good vibe. Conversely, if I get a really good vibe, right? Like, then I really just enjoy spending the amount of time that I'm going to spend with this person. And then going back to like having the amount of time, I feel like I could not believe the amount of time we waste as full-time employees.
Yeah, totally.
So whether it's going to the office or dealing with the politics, whether it's even, just sitting at home and slacking about what happened for whatever amount of time, there is this, and there's value in that when you're a full-time employee,
Yeah.
right? Like developing relationships with people, bonding, commiserating, etc. But ultimately I feel very drained by that. Some people really love that. I feel very drained by it. So giving myself the time back to do whatever it is that I want to do. I definitely don't always work between 9 and 5. I might work from 12 to 8. I might want to go to the gym in the morning.
Yeah.
I might want to do my grocery shopping. I like not having to ask permission of anybody to
Yes.
do whatever it is I need to do with my day. So I feel like my big fear about it taking over my life was a certain way of looking at it. But now I look at it as like, I only have the one life and there's only 24 hours in my day, right? And how do I want to spend that time is up to me. Yes, I have clients that maybe they're working, and I need to be available to them. And that is perfectly fine. But there's a lot of freedom in how I structure my day. So that's been the biggest gift I think that I've given to myself, that I get a lot of joy out of being able to spend my day however I want to spend my day. That for me, I don't like the constraints of having a proper job. And I don't really like asking permission for things, whether it's going on vacation, right? Like I don't have to apply for vacation time. I tell them, well,
Right.
I'm not available during this time,
Yeah.
and I'm someone that when I'm not available, I'm really not available. I don't subscribe to, I guess, more American culture of like,
Yeah.
but you can email me and I'll email you back. I will not. I'm not a doctor in an ER. Like,
Yeah.
no one's going to die if I don't respond to them.
Oh my gosh, totally.
So that's the biggest thing. In terms of trips and things, I know you are someone that definitely does the whole digital nomad thing. I like home is where I work. When I go away on vacation, I went to, last year I went to Hawaii, which was amazing.
Woo.
and we took like a week and a half, went to Hawaii.
Amazing.
This year I did take the month of June pretty much off, and I went
Yes.
to Spain for a while in the first part of the month, and then the second part of the month I visited friends up in Maine, which was so fun. But really, I mean, honestly, I try to do no meeting Fridays,
Yeah,
which I usually am able to maintain. I just feel like I structure my life the way I want it to be structured, and
totally.
work is part of the day, just like a lot of other things are part of your day.
I love that. I mean, it sounds like you took, for all of us who've become entrepreneurs, like it's a leap, right? It's scary. It's not a traditional career path, but to hear how happy it's made you to be able to like do the work you love while still have like so much time freedom, be able to decide how you want to spend your day and like go on vacation when you want and like take off all of June, and still kick butt for your clients. Like that's just the best feeling ever. I love that.
Yeah.
Just a couple questions left for you, Liza. Would you recommend the Book Out Your Business Marketing Bootcamp?
Absolutely. I got a lot out of it.
Oh,
And
good.
I got a lot out of it, and I'm in marketing.
I do, like we were saying, I do work with a lot of marketers. Oftentimes, like even if you're great at marketing for other people, for some reason it can still be really hard to do it for yourself. And I find that's true across a lot of service-based entrepreneurs. Like whatever you do for other people, it can be hard to do it for yourself. And sometimes it's just prioritizing yourself over your clients, making the time and the space. And I find that's why joining a program and getting a coach, like that can be super helpful, because like I know if I'm paying for something, like I'm going to put in the work, right? And it helps to like prioritize yourself. All right, last question for you. What advice would you give your younger entrepreneur self? Uh-oh, did I lose your video? Oh no, Liza. Uh-oh.
I'm still here.
Oh, okay, good. Perfect. Did you hear my last question? What advice would you give your younger entrepreneur self?
Oh, my younger entrepreneur self would be believe, this sounds so trite, right? Like a poster with a monkey or something. Like believe in yourself. Believe that you can do it, right?
Yeah.
Because I've had this conversation with myself multiple times throughout my consulting career. And it is this, it is, you can do this. You've done it before. You could do it again. You were great at getting full-time jobs. There is literally no reason that you can't get another client. And I've had moments where I'm like, I probably won't ever get another client ever again. Like whatever year I did, like last year, I was really successful in my business. It's probably the best year I've had yet. And this year was, at the beginning of the year was a little bit scary. So, one thing about consulting is like you will have, some high highs, and you might have some low lows. And the high highs feel like I'm done. I achieved everything I ever wanted to achieve. I'm the best consultant ever, right?
Yeah.
And the low lows will feel like, I don't know why I decided to do this. Everything is terrible. I'll never have a good year again. And neither is true, right? Like it's somewhere in the middle. So I feel like getting used to that is huge. And not to be afraid of that, I think is the advice I would give my younger self, or the beginning of my consulting journey. Also get an accountant that knows how to do your taxes as a solopreneur.
Yeah.
I didn't do that at first. I know you don't really get into all that, and I'm not trying to give people tax advice, but it's really important to get an accountant that knows how to manage that, because I did not do that and things were kind of messed up. And then I had to pay a lady who knew how to do that to undo all that with the IRS. And it was not fun.
Yeah.
So
gotcha. In my Zero to Launch program, where I teach people how to launch, I actually do address like,
oh, good.
Yeah, totally.
So I know that sounds boring, but like,
no,
really
it's great advice.
And don't get someone that's like, sure, I mean, I've worked with other solopreneurs. No, get someone who that's part of their business model.
I
They
love that. And that is such
work.
great advice to any entrepreneur. I mean, especially if you're starting out, you're not familiar with like that roller coaster. It can be, it's like I said, it's a non-traditional path. Like there's some bumps in the road. I've definitely found that to be pretty true among all my clients as we all go through that roller coaster of like sometimes you're like on top of the world, you're like, oh my god, being my own boss is awesome, this is the best, I'm amazing. And then sometimes those doubts start to creep in. You're like, oh my god, like what if no one signs up? Like what if I can't find another client? Like what if, what if I need to go work at Trader Joe's for the rest of my life? And I think having a group, having a program, having a coach, having other people who can normalize that for you and who can like hype you up and be like, no, you're freaking awesome. Remember all those clients that hired you in the past? Like more people are going to want to hire you. Like you got this. Like it makes such a huge difference. And knowing what to say and how to get through those periods, like, it's so helpful.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, thank you so much, Liza, for taking the time to chat with me today. It was such a pleasure having you in the boot camp.
Yeah.
I'm so happy to see how you and your business are thriving. And thanks so much for taking the time to share today.
Yeah, thank you. This was great.
Awesome.